we go again.
Moving on again. College football, bro. The SEC out here looking strong, bro. I mean, outside of LSU. Uh, but and we'll come back to the SEC because obviously our boys is in there and we'll talk about it. But I did want to talk about Colorado. Uh, they are in the Big 12, and of course they played their first game against an opponent that was not in the Big 12, and they kind of squeaked by. What is your overall thoughts on Coach Prime and the Buffs?
And so, man, I think it's funny to me because I think that Colorado feels like okay, Colorado feels like they're everybody's Super Bowl,
Hmm.
right? And I think I've heard some of the players say something like that. And don't get me wrong, I think there is a little bit of that. But I also think like, all right, at some point though, right? If it's somebody else's Super Bowl, because everybody want to beat them, they got the biggest target on their back. Because I think that people feel like they got this unnecessarily big amount of promotion and publicity on them that I don't think that people are warranted. You think about that though, right? Last year they started out hot, and then they just start getting whipped up on them, whipped up on them, whipped up on, right? And then even now, we were talking about it the other day. We were like, yo, they had a close game with Colorado State. And I'm like, this can't be the same team that Texas dog walked the other day. And so I think that people is a lot of that. Here's what I think is crazy. I think that I think that Colorado has an opportunity just as much as how they say that we're everybody's Super Bowl. I think that they have just as much of an opportunity to really show if they really that. Because I think though that they're this is just year two for Dion though, right? So while they have the two or three great players, they still have they're still they had a lot of those guys that they recruited from the transport portal that's not there. A lot of them, and they're still developing their identity. So I think that the publicity is also demanding the performance, the records. And I listen, I think that it wouldn't surprise me if Dia and them also only won about 6 games. But I think that they'll get to a point within their schedule where they'll play against some of these teams that are more established programs under that coach's direction, and they'll get pounded out though, bro. So I like what I see from them. I just wonder when you're having these close games against some of these guys,
Hmm.
like what is it gonna do when you play against some of them top tier teams, though, bro?
Yeah. They still look the same to me that they did last year. Like you can tell that they improved in some of their position players, but their defense, I mean, now granted, I will give them props. The defense in the second half only held them to 6 points. But prior to that, they let them get what 20 points in the first half or whatever the case may be, or whatever it was. And then the offense still has an issue with protecting the quarterback. So it's like they still have the same issues that they had last year, and that's what I think is troubling, because you thought that they were gonna make a conscious effort on improving in those positions, and it's like I said, they didn't play a Big 12 team, and shoot, they're gonna be running up against Oklahoma State, and they play Nebraska next week, so it's gonna be crazy.
And here's what's funny. So Nebraska has this quarterback who was a number one rated quarterback coming out of high school last year.
Hmm.
And they talk like this dude is a generational talent. He came out, he played pretty good. Um, he played pretty good against the team. They brought him out there, got out a little shaky at first, took off though, man. He looks like he's gonna be the real thing. And they also have that what's the old boy? Scott Rule, I think it is, the guy who was over at who came from Temple to Baylor to the Carolina Panthers. He's out there at Nebraska. So Nebraska, they're year two under him, and they're expecting that they're going to be better, and they're recruiting top guys as well. So I think that like this, when they play Nebraska, it's going to tell you everything you need to know about Colorado. Now, here's the thing I think that's crazy though, bro. I think people absolutely love to hate on Colorado. There to me, they're so polarizing, and Dion has been so polarizing. You either love Dion or you hate him. You root for him or you root against him. And I think that what's happening though, bro, is especially given their record, I think that they get all the clicks, right? Shador Sanders. number one in NIL deals, just signed a deal with Nike, right? And he might go on and still go on to be a great NFL quarterback. But for what his team is putting out, everybody's like it's not warranted though, bro. And I'm they seem to be like the new. I'm gonna say this. They seem like the new like Dallas Cowboys, bro.
Hmm.
Like either you really love Dion and love you're rooting for him hard, or you're rooting against them just as hard, though, bro.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. SEC, like I said, it felt like all them teams had something to prove. Georgia was out there, Bama was out there. Like everybody was trying to get the most points that they could. Texas was out there. Even OU showed up. But I will,
Tennessee.
yeah, Tennessee. I will say though, I was surprised to see how well Texas played against a team that did so well, like you said, up against Colorado last year when most of these other teams was playing like, some teams that you kind of expected them to run up on.
Yeah. Now, I listen. Don't get me wrong. I think Alabama didn't show me nothing because of who they played. Georgia definitely showed me a lot. Showed me a lot. I think they're out this way, and I don't know how it is out in the Midwest area, but I think out here people are putting Dabo Swinney on that clock because he is very much anti-transfer portal, right? I think that it's only Clemson and the armed forces schools, Army,
Yeah.
Navy, Air Force, are the only ones that didn't do any transfer students. And so I think that Dabo Swinney, people are looking at him like, all right, bro, you don't want to pay these players, or you don't want to pay the go through the transfer portal. You only want to go with guys that you originally recruited out of high school. That's fine. But this is what happens when you run against those teams who are using that portal to fill out their roster, though, bro. And I think that now people are looking at Dabo Swinney a little differently. They're looking at him, and people are also looking even at like uh, Nick Saban. It's like, all right, before you were always able to get the top recruiting classes, right? But now it's even, right? So Nick Saban's no longer there, and people are like, hey, you sure he ain't leave just in time for that? Well, Dabo Swinney, people are looking at him like, bro, is your time coming up as well? Because we looking at you and you refuse to do what everybody else is doing. That's now an everyday practice thing, though, bro. So I think that Georgia definitely surprised me the most. And I think that the part that got me the most about Georgia was that they had their two best running backs out for this particular season, and the guys just kind of reloaded, and it's out there though, bro. I think that I was very impressed with Georgia though, man. You know who I was surprised? I'm not gonna say who I wasn't surprised. Who I just was not impressed with whatsoever outside of the SEC. Michigan. We play them next week.
Yeah.
Not impressed with the Michigan game. I saw almost all of that game though, bro, and I just could not believe. I knew that they were reloading,
Hmm.
but I just didn't know how much they gonna get dog walked by Ohio State, bro. Dog
Uh,
walk.
now, what about did you the Florida State? What happened with them?
Listen, man. Okay, let's take a step back. Florida State's kicked off the football season last week playing in
Mhm.
Dublin against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech goes out there and walk these boys down. Now, Florida State has DJ Oogla whatever, right? He started out at Clemson, got beat out by Clemson's current quarterback,
Hmm.
but then he goes out to Oregon State, right? Balls out for about 4,000 yards. He does his thing. NIL transfer goes to Florida State, gets bread. Now, the big taste we have from Florida State is dang, the boys got left out of the playoff because their quarterback got injured, right? They go off in a bowl game, gets walked by Georgia, start out this season, gets walked by Georgia Tech, who hasn't been any world beaters, right? So then fast forward this season, this comes on up, and they look bad again. And listen, I got friends who are Florida State alumni, Florida State diehards, and they're
Yeah.
already like, listen, we got rid of the last coach for less. we might need to go ahead and start thinking about getting rid, make some big changes because the expectation was that DJ, their quarterback,
Was
was
that
like
guy?
the missing thing. All they needed was the quarterback, and he looks like he's so unprepared and so not on the same page with his wide receivers that they look bad out here though, bro. They look horrible.
Yeah, and so let's get to LSU, bro. So this is what, year 3 that they start out 0-1.
I don't know what's up with that, bro. And not just that, it's not just them. Uh Brian Kelly has did that in the past also with Notre Dame. And don't get me wrong, they get better and better and better as the year go on. But again, in the SEC, you can't afford to get out there on these slow starts unless you get out here and you start doing like how Bama, they schedule the cream puffs, right? Tennessee, you schedule the cream puffs, and that's the point of those tune-up games is to get you going, get your guys momentum and confidence going. But man, they out here starting to get out against great teams or good teams though, man. And I don't know, man. Like I thought LSU was gonna be, I thought they were gonna look so much better though, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually were talking like their quarterback could be a Heisman Trophy candidate and could be one of those quarterbacks up there, top 5 quarterbacks, bro. But man, I couldn't. I was so disappointed though, man.
Yeah. What else you got, bro?
Um, what else we got on deck? Oh, so next week we play Michigan, right? And I feel it's like shout out to my boy Cinematic because he is a Michigan. He is all in on the Big Blue. And he said he knew they were going to go ahead and they wouldn't be as good, right? Because they lost 13 guys to the NFL from their last year team.
Yeah.
13 guys, right? I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm expecting I'm expecting for us to go 30, 30 piece. 30 piece. And I think that we can go 30 piece. Listen, I'm expecting for Arch Manning to get in and not because of injury, bro.
Right.
Yeah, I'm expecting Archman to get on in there, bro. Like when I saw Michigan go, bro, I just wasn't impressed with them whatsoever. I mean, was not impressed, and their defense is okay, but not that it didn't see nothing at all that made me just like, oh, we got to worry about that. Nothing, bro.
See, I didn't
Nothing
watch
at
I
all.
didn't watch that first game. I'm gonna go back and pull up the highlights to see what they look.
Oh, I saw the whole thing. Didn't see nothing. They had 2 quarterbacks that are battling for the starting. So again, when you got 2 that are battling, you don't have a for sure one, you don't got to start. And they ain't like Arch and Ewers. It's literally both of their quarterbacks got in, and I just wasn't impressed with either one of them, though, bro.
Yeah.
None. Yeah,
Oh,
so I am excited about the game. I want to pull out the Vince Young jersey, but the last time I pulled out the Vince Young jersey, we lost. So now it's like I'm gonna wait to the end. I might just wear just my Texas shirt and socks, but I ain't
yeah.
wearing my jersey yet.
Yeah, I got them 2024 Nike joints. The
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
Texas joints. Them joints just came in today. So I'm gonna have to
yeah,
pull them
man.
out this weekend, man.
I want to go full on Vince Young though, man. Full on Vince Young, but I don't know, bro. I don't know. We'll see.